What's up, everybody? Remember, if you like the videos, like, sub, silly, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. Helps me get a new webcam, maybe, whatever. So with Street Fighter 6 coming out, quotation marks, the game is a year old, right? Let's be honest here, right? I said, for better or worse, although I accept the system and the sort of gimmick, if you will, let's say, of the game, one of the problems is that all the characters are kind of using the system in a sort of homogenized fashion, right? And it makes the character not feel as unique the way that they're using the system, which kind of made me think about, and I've talked about this for years, if I was ever going to make a Street Fighter game, I have talked about a gimmick of what I would do, a sort of gimmicky system quirk that you could do. And there's more shit I would do. Of course, I made bigger videos about what I would do for Street Fighter, but hopefully what I'll show here is, again, I will illustrate a very simple gimmick gameplay mechanic in a theoretical new Street Fighter that every character uses in their own way, which makes the character feel special, not the system necessarily over the character, right? Because a lot of times you play a game for the character. A lot of times you will play a game even if you're not super horny about a game. You will play a game if that specific version of that character calls to you, if you will, right? So again, I'm going to show off some simple examples and some little bit more complicated examples, maybe, to get your brain kind of thinking, right? So I said if I was making a Street Fighter, one of the gimmicks I would do is I would just add in this system of, maybe for however much bar, we decide it takes to use, for a certain amount of bar, you can do a special move into another special move, okay? That special move that normally does not juggle, now will juggle. And it then causes the next hit after that special move to then juggle. Okay? Now, this is going to seem, this is actually very simple, but you can do a lot of complicated and character quirky things with it, and I'm going to show you, right? So let's imagine here, for sake of example, we're going to go from simple to complicated. Ryu does a dragon punch. He uses however much meter. The dragon punch hits the guy flies away. He cancels into the fireball, right? The fireball then hits the guy, the guy's flying across the screen, boom, the fireball hits. Fireball normally doesn't juggle, but now it does because you canceled into your special move for however how much meter, right? Now, after the fireball, you cancel the fireball into the hurricane kick. So basically almost like a full screen kind of like combo, if you will, right? Hurricane kick doesn't normally juggle, but now it does, right? Let's look at a different thing. Let's imagine now the next time, for a theoretical example, you do a dragon punch. You cancel your dragon punch to a hurricane kick. Again, hurricane kick doesn't normally juggle, but because you canceled, for however much meter your dragon punch into the hurricane kick now juggles. Now remember, the next hit, whatever you do, can technically juggle. Now you could do a DP, but remember, any hit juggles. So let's imagine that we just tap the guy with the jab here, right? Jab normally doesn't juggle, but now jab juggles. Now, if we were to think about this, as say in the alpha games, alpha 1, alpha 2, if you recall, alpha 1 and alpha 2, you can actually anti-air a guy with a jab and then jump medium punch and it juggles, right? So here we have a different kind of way we could use the system, right? Ryu does a dragon punch, cancels however much meter into a hurricane kick. Hurricane kick doesn't normally juggle. Now it juggles, it hits the guy, boom. Now we have a freebie move that can hit. So we do jab. Jab normally doesn't juggle, but now it juggles. Now we can do a move that then juggles normally, the jump medium punch, right? Then we can do like walk over here, cross up, walk over here, cross up, whatever, right? Simple, okay? Let's imagine a character like Zangief in this theoretical example, right? Let's imagine Zangief. He hits you with the lariat, right? Maybe it's a theoretical example. Imagine something in your head. If you've ever played Super Turbo, say you got the guy in the corner. Say you got a Shoto in the corner, right? And you're doing your throw mix-up, whatever, and Ryu is going to try to hurricane kick out of the throw mix-up. Gief anticipates this hurricane kick and he does his lariat, right? Now Gief uses his meter to then do a lariat, and he times the lariat so the lariat spins. Maybe he does the kick lariat this time, right? So he does hard punch lariat into kick lariat. It hits just late enough that then Gief is able to then jump up Again, Lariat doesn't normally juggle, but now you use the system, and now he gets one freebie. Well, Ryu was in the corner when he got hit by this. Normally this doesn't juggle. Now he gets one freebie, and he does his jump, neutral jump, fierce, which, if you recall old school Street Fighter, dizzies you. Boom. Geef is now dizzied Ryu automatically off of that. Then Geef does whatever combo, throw super, whatever, right? You see, even a simple kind of idea with Geef there works for that. It makes Geef feel special. Even that simple little interaction right there. You actually have given him a way to actually try to link his jumps fucking fierce, right? That dizzies you, right? Look at a theoretical example with Guy, right? Do you remember this move in Capcom Fighting Jam and he had it in Ultra Street Fighter 4, I think the EX or Omega, whatever. Guy has this, his flip kick, right? And then you can do that down forward roundhouse again after it, right? And he flies across the screen, he kicks the guy, and then you can juggle after it, whatever. But there's no real way to combo into the guy, and it's just a mix-up. But in this theoretical game, right, imagine Guy, he does his, shoulder tackle move. Boom, cancels it for however much meter, does the bushing flip to the elbow. Normally this doesn't juggle, but boom. Now it hits the guy. Now we could do something like a hurricane kick to juggle, whatever, but a more interesting way to use the meter, since now we get a freebie hit of anything as well. Normally this move doesn't juggle. Now we hit that guy with this because it juggles, and then we go into this hit, and then boom, boom, we can do a bush and combo, then juggles, then we can go into a hurricane kick, whatever. Who knows? Maybe if you do that in a big combo, that outright dizzies the guy, right? That is a way to make Guy feel special. Now here's an even more big brain thing. Think about it like this. Think about Ken's egg beater hurricane kick from Championship Edition, right? If you've ever played Championship Edition, Ken has that egg beater hurricane kick and it sucks you in, right? And you can link off it. Now, unfortunately, basically the only realistic ways to do it in a real combo is versus a handful of like bigger ducking characters. You can do a cross up, then do a hurricane kick immediately, and the hurricane kick will pass over the guy's body. And since they're big enough, though, the back hit hits them, they go boom, 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 get so many hits, then you link off it, right? Now imagine this. If you have ever played old school Street Fighter, you know that the first hit of Ken's Flaming Punch DP actually causes the guy to duck. It serves almost no purpose besides visually speaking in that specific scenario. But Ken's Flaming Dragon Punch, the very first hit of it, makes you automatically duck. So put these two together. Say Ken has a hurricane kick where in this theoretical version of the game, one of his hurricane kicks, the knee doesn't hit, right? So, and he can pass over the guy theoretically. So you've given Ken a specific way to use this. Maybe Ken does a Flaming Dragon Punch, right? He cancels immediately versus a big character because having character-specific combos, believe it or not, is fun, right? You cancel the first hit against this big character, whatever. Then you cancel to the hurricane kick. Since it's a Flaming Dragon Punch, first hit, is the guy ducking. You then pass over the guy and boom. You now are able to hit that once almost only video combo in Championship Edition in a realistic fashion. Now big characters have to be, careful, even more careful about Ken doing random reversal DPs, whatever, because he has a huge fucking combo off it, right? And of course, just combos, period, right? But now you can actually link the egg beater hurricane kick, right? And then into a combo, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And of course, there's even different things. Say, again, I'll just use Ryu for an example, but say even not for juggles, right? Imagine that the second hit of the whatever move you're doing, if it's a move that doesn't juggle, right? Imagine it just gives the move some kind of counter hit property or some shit, longer stun, whatever. So say Ryu does a fireball and a fireball combo, right? He quickly cancels into a red fireball, right? Maybe the red fireball, when it hits like this and it causes a counter hit, it does more stun or something like that, right? And then you can link a Rush Fierce off it. Now you might say, and this is just the bottom here, you might say, Clayton, well, what is the reason that you would not just do your strongest normal over and over? You're like, okay, it's fun that, I can do a Ryu Dragon Punch then into a Hurricane Kick and then into whatever. But why wouldn't I maybe just want to automatically default to doing my dragon punch over and over, or whatever move it is with the character, right? Because maybe that does more damage. Well, there's obviously, if you use your brain, you could think about it something like this, right? Say you put a value into the game that whenever you use this system, moves that don't have a juggle point only get one freebie. Okay? So if you use your freebie immediately, you don't get your next freebie. Does that make sense? Every move, when you like code it into the game, whatever you code it into the game, every move has this set value of a potential set value of 1 or some shit like that that can do one extra hit of juggle that it normally can't do. So there you've automatically taken away this potential, even if it would be a problem scenario of why wouldn't I just do dragon punch, dragon punch, dragon punch? Or even the potential problem of, oh, maybe it's kind of boring because I don't want to see the same special move 3 times in a row. So there you go. You think, well, every move only gets that one free juggle point, so you can't do it right there. Simple. Anyway, hopefully you see, and of course I'm thinking about it from a more, sort of classical Street Fighter, not like a newer kind of game per se, you know what I mean? A more sort of restrictive juggle system, right? Where only certain moves can juggle, right? So this would be a way to make it more, fucking every character feels special. Every character can use this system in a specific way, right? And of course, like I said, I've made videos about how I would change Street Fighter in different ways as well. Watch all those videos, you know what I mean? There's other things I would add, but when I think about like a gimmick in a game, and I think about Street Fighter 6 having that gimmick of drive rushes and all this kind of stuff, Slimer Rush, whatever the fuck it's called, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, the Slimer Rush is kind of cool, but it's like, oh man, every character is just kind of using it in the same way. It's a interesting system in a sense, but it's like, oh man. And it's like, because right when I saw that, I'm like, okay, so then you can combo off overhead again. Oh, you'll be able to link off your low, but I'm like, oh wait. I'm like, I bet Guile's going to have his fucking overhead from Street Fighter 4 in this game. Oh, sure he does. So then he can link off it. Every character has their, my Slimer Russian over. My Slimer. It's like every character is unfortunately using the system in a sort of similar fashion, right? It's homogenizing it. Even if it's an interesting system in its own way from a certain perspective, the other side of the coin is that they're all using it in the same way. So if you had a system like I'm showing you here, where, and again, I would have more gimmicks in my game, you know what I mean? Different ways that I would do characters, but hopefully you see that just a simple gimmick like this can be vastly, complex, if you will, vastly specific to each character, right? There's vastly different kind of conversion. Ryu goes through a fireball with the hurricane kick. You could hurricane kick, then hurricane kick while you're falling down, right? Then you could do, I did hurricane. Then I could do the jab reset into a jump medium punch. I could go back to my juggle move, right? Maybe other characters normally have juggle moves that they can't go into and out of, because they got to find ways to mix and match. You're finding ways to mix and match spontaneously throughout the match. And of course, certain characters are going to have certain setups. You think about a character like Guy, this would probably be a character that, if I'm mid-screen and I can, if I'm close enough to the corner that I can bush and flip and hit with this elbow, then yeah, you're probably going to want to do this combo. So of course, there's going to be certain combos that you're more, likely to lean towards. But there's also specific setups that you can see like, wow, maybe I want to go for the mix-up here. Maybe Geef has these random setups like, man, I want to be able to have setups where I can hit a late whiff lariat, combo into a weight whiff lariat, you know what I mean? That this can hit late, so then I have time to jump up, neutral punch fierce. That instantly dizzies that guy. And people are like, oh, that's a gimmick. And you want the fucking thing is you don't get? Gimmicks are fun. When every character has his own gimmick, when every character uses the system in their own specific way, that is fun. When Ken has specific ways to use a egg beater hurricane kick, which is kind of a meme combo, and championship edition, and you're like, wow, this is actually giving him a specific way that he can now do this for certain characters legitimately. That's fun. So hopefully you get what I'm saying, that, like, do you get what I'm getting at? I just told you a simple system that was not like, oh, hold down 2 punches. We're going to be whiffing parry to go faster than other times. You know what I mean? We're not tapping here, blah, blah, blah. We have a simple system of you can cancel a special move into a special move for a certain amount of meter. Your next special move that you do, no matter what, automatically juggles the guy, even if it doesn't. And then whatever move you do after that, even though it normally doesn't juggle, now it juggles. Instead of like, oh, you know, that sounded long-winded, but hopefully you get it's just a simple gimmick. But every character uses it in their own special way. Not just Ryu, you know, fireballs, mixing these three special moves. Characters like Geef can use this. Characters like Guy can use, and of course you could use it for like, imagine, you know, Geef could, you know, you could say a character like Geef, imagine Geef did fucking a, you know, and this is like, again, a theoretical kind of thing. Like imagine Geef did a banishing, a green punch, right? And then it was blocked and he automatically canceled that into his next move. He canceled it into a lariat, right? Whatever. Then the guy wasn't expecting to get hit by that lariat. The lariat then hits, boom. Well, guess what? Now he can then link a normal after that lariat that he normally couldn't. Do you get what I'm saying? Maybe you block a mix-up from, you know, Guy or something. You block the run overhead mix-up. Well, he does something else to keep himself safe, right? Again, such a simple idea that is vastly potentially complex, changing on the fly. Every character uses it in their own specific way. Anyway, remember, if you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. The end.